telehealth and other new technologies are putting patient first, improving outcomes and lowering the cost of care. Those are the primary things that we hear. So we had Colin Hung. Colin Hung is essentially in my business. He's an editor for a journal. Tanya Elliott, Chief Medical Officer for Virtual Care at Ascension, and Chris Marsh, Vice President of Engineering at SR Health. And they discussed telehealth. Let me just give you one or two excerpts from this. I realized very early on, seeing thousands of patients, there was something special about that patient-doctor relationship through video. It's Tanya Elliott who said this. It's intimate. You're seeing into the patient's home. So that's sort of a modern day house call. This is really great for patients and from a patient access perspective. From an equity perspective, you level the playing field because someone living in a rural area can see a top specialist at the tap of a button. So she really captures, I love that paragraph because she really captures a lot of the benefits of telehealth. And it's interesting that she talks about it being almost more intimate, or it's an intimate setting, getting that video. Like right now, I'm looking at your background saying, I'm really jealous because I can see that you're at a vacation home on the coast somewhere, and it's beautiful. And that's what she's really talking about. When you get that video, as opposed to prior to COVID, the number one medium for telehealth visits was the phone. And we didn't get to see anything on the other side. It turns out they just did all this claims data analysis, and Zoom actually beat the plain old telephone for the first time. So 40 some odd % of telehealth visits during the pandemic were Zoom. So we're creating this visual that we didn't have before. What are your thoughts as you read her comments on that?
So I generally like Tanya's work. I've been impressed with what she is doing at Ascension, but I have some disagreements with her. I think the intimacy of being in the patient's home is similar to what you're getting with me. I curated this setting. I mean, yes, it is my real backyard down here, but I purposely chose this because it makes me happy and it shows me in a place that I want to be seen in. And I think our patients will give us a blank wall or give us a curated space within the house. So you're not really getting the intimacy of seeing it. When I did home visits as a medical student on one of my rotations, I specifically set up the rotation so I could do home visits. And I saw in the homes, you saw what the kitchen looked like. You saw what the bathroom access was. You saw the grab bar or lack of grab bar in the shower for somebody with orthopedic issues. So that's a home visit, that's intimate. What we do on this is you get framing and we get specific things we want people to see. So I would disagree with her on that, though I think there is potential. If you could get the patients to walk around with it and show you that, if you turned it into that type of visit, that's powerful. But the other comment that I have is the access, the leveling the playing field. The problem is if you don't have broadband access, that field actually gets a bigger chasm between the haves and have-nots than we had before. I think there is potential, but my state, Kentucky, is rural and broadband access is not penetrating into a lot of areas. So we still have significant disparities for access. So it opens the potential, but we have to act on it. We still have a lot of work to do on the infrastructure and on creating equity opportunities. It's all good stuff. This has jump-started the conversation and really moved us to where no one's going to allow us to drop telehealth anymore. And no one's going to allow us to push for broadband everywhere. I think those are two infrastructure elements, one for healthcare specifically and one for society in general, that aren't going to go away.